Alright, here we go. YouTube's live. I'm on Twitch. Alright. I don't know if I want to spend the effort drawing a ship. Let's just grab one from online. $15? This is like a 16 pixel image.
$15. This is like a 16 pixel.
I mean, I could just copy this. Do it right now. I mean, there's JPEG artifacts, but pixels. Is that the right spot? Looks right. And then we want to scale it down. How wide is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. 15 pixels wide. $1 per pixel wide. That is a scam. Look at that. No JPEG artifacts. Just pure ship.
Pog.
Pog.
Oh, hey, Trevor. I'm doing fun things.
Did you upload the second part of that video?
Yeah, I did.
Pog. The Mad Lad uploads part 1 and then part 3 and then talks about part 2 and
I uploaded part 2. Right after part 1.
so yeah, I'm just blind. Or maybe just didn't show up for me for a while. So I didn't see yesterday.
Oh, okay. Strange.
Yeah, it probably just took a while to show up for me.
You know how to use GIMP?
That's a painting software, right?
Yeah, I want to color key this image
I
that
have
I stole from
no
online.
idea.
It's
All I
$15
know is the
image,
name.
and it's 15 pixels wide.
It's literally pixel by pixel wide. It do be taking forever.
Color key? Question mark. Oh, beautiful. I don't want this weirdness. What is happening here? Cancel. Select region by color. How do I do that?
It's usually the magic wand too, I think.
Yeah, okay. Threshold of 0. And then delete. Oh, I need to add an alpha channel. Delete for real. Look at that. Beautiful spaceship. Cool, so I should be able to load this image.
Fuck.
As long as I add image here. We'll add that to the enum. I have an image context now. I don't think I actually need it though. I think I can just throw it away. Throw it in the garbage where it belongs. STL2 image load texture. The trait I want. Load texture assets space png. Alright, so if I run this from inside, yeah, if I run this, it should work. So to get you up to speed a little bit, Trevor, I'm making a Space Invaders clone.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
It should be. Yep, couldn't open assets / spaceship.png. Oh, it's spaceship.jpg. I should have exported that as PNG. There we go. So all I need to do now is returns a texture. So ship new should now take a texture. And of course we have to add lifetimes because Rust. Such awkward syntax. So not a reference to it, but I'm actually providing ownership of the spaceship texture to the spaceship. So canvas.copy self.texture. No clip. Self.x plus w over 2. And then we draw and if we get an error, it's because we were drawing. These work. Oh, that's a tiny spaceship.
He is so small.
Also, laser shooting doesn't seem to work anymore. That was working. Yeah, that's a little bit too small.
The resolution of the screen is too high.
You're right, I need to run this on a SNES. Just double the size. Yeah, that looks better. Now he's too low down.
Bruh. There do be like 5 people in Skull, but also, are you live on YouTube too?
Live on YouTube and Twitch right now.
Ah, very cool.
I figured out how to use Restream. The movement isn't quite right either. But why are the lasers not showing up? So the idea with the lasers is we handle events. If the event is a key down event and the key code is the spacebar, then it returns true from the function. Otherwise, it returns false in any other case. It does do some other side effects here, but they're not relevant to the laser. It's
Okay.
just these are movement code. So if ship.handle returns true, then it constructs a new laser. See if that prints.
New laser pog.
Yeah, pew pew prints.
Pew.
So why is that laser not happening? The lasers are showing up, they're just not being drawn. Because I'm a doofus. And I didn't set the draw color here.
So you can draw it as the background color. Classic
Yeah,
mistake.
it was drawing black lasers on a black background. So now you should see PPUs. Okay, that's definitely not in the right place.
Yeah, it's definitely the top left of the image instead of being centered by the width and the height. Or just the width in this case.
Yeah,
The second classic blunder.
because I'm supposed to subtract width, not add it.
You thought.
Yeah, see now that's coming straight out of the center of the ship. So it's actually too high. I want it height minus 50. Sure. Height minus 50 sounds good. Where's the laser?
Fire the lasers.
Lasers respond here. And I should probably spawn the lasers a little higher. I'm going to keep them at 50, and I'm going to move the ship down to like 30. Yeah, now it's like shooting the lasers. Cute. I'm going to change the drawing here. Thick line. Width of the line. Let's make it 3 pixels wide. Now they look like centered relative to the ship too. So that's what I wanted.
Nice.
I'm gonna make the lasers red. But not completely red. Like a lighter red.
Only like kind of red. Not all red, but just sort of red, you know?
Yeah, like tomato, not like blood.
Bloody tomato even less.
Definitely not bloody tomato. I don't need this function. Okay, now I need enemies. What am I doing? Minecraft pixel art templates.com. I'm sold.
Classic.
1, 2, 3, 4. 11 by 8. I can replicate this. 11 by 8. And it's just going to be grayscale.
Oh yeah. The Mac 10?
Oh, in Cold War?
Yeah, I just got
Yep.
it.
I'm kind of close, I think.
I don't know. The next one is the Groza. I mean, the battle pass isn't even hard. Like you level up pretty quick compared to other battle passes. For the amount of time you have to complete it. Like it's like what, 10 weeks?
Deselect.
There are 9 weeks left.
I don't know, honestly.
It's so dumb. Is that like the
I just don't play it enough right now.
play what enough? Oh COD, yeah.
But one of my friends that I played Modern Warfare with got Cold War. So I'll be playing it more. That's the plan. Stan.
How do you even... It's like every fifth one on the battle pass you get a free Oh yay, we needed another FFR blueprint.
They have an X and Y position. They have health. They have what? What do the invaders do?
They have a direction, probably.
Yeah. And then they have an
Like,
offset, which they'll use to calculate if like their group is at the end of the line. Because whenever they reach the left or right edge of the screen, they teleport down a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's how Space Invaders works. So it's just a bunch of floats.
Wait a minute.
They also have a cooldown, I think.
They shoot, right?
Yeah, I think some of them shoot.
They'll start with 100 health. Cooldown will start at random number between 5 seconds and half a second. Something like that. So we will say
What?
self.x plus equals to self.dir. So if x is out of range, then we say self.y plus equals fall height. And we'll say they fall 10 pixels.
And I've nothing left to do. I complete all my dailies too. These dailies are stupid easy.
Does that seem reasonable? I think it does. The group is, let's say, 100 pixels wide. Does that math work out? I guess there's only one way to find out. Oh, and in order to draw himself, he needs to have his texture. TC stands for texture creator, by the way.
You're telling me it doesn't stand for top comment?
Yeah, or the famous palindrome taco cat. None of the above. But yeah, like subscribe to my channel and stuff. Top comment gets $100,000. We need a W and an H. Okay, I think he's ready to draw.
That's ridiculous.
To a vector. Load the texture.
Yeah, I can do that.
See how this looks. Oh, hey, they're moving together. All right, what happens when we get to the end? All
Oh shit. Or I guess I.
right, this way. Does the math work out? Not quite. Thought I saw one of them shoot. I didn't even code the shooting. Oh, you know what happened? One of them shot down the side of the screen.
Huh.
Because the offset calculation is messed up and their hit test kept failing. Like they were still off screen after moving downward. So they just shot off the bottom of the screen. So we need to, first of all, this is,
I'm gonna get off. See ya.
yeah, I should probably introduce a constant here. There we go, that looks a little better. So one of them's gonna shoot off the bottom of the screen. Or they're just gonna suicide conga line.
They've left. They
They've
decided
left
that
the building.
enough was enough, and they just left.
Wow, how rude. So the offset calculation is 10 minus I times this formula. So let me make a variable here. What's wrong here? Something's wrong with this picture. Hi, Daniel. You know I'm streaming. You can watch. You can watch from your computer, I'm saying. I'm streaming on Twitch. I'm streaming myself making Space Invaders. Here's what it looks like right now. Except there's a problem with my calculations here and they just all die. Yeah, they don't shoot yet. And these lasers are gonna also shoot them. But I haven't done any collision detection yet. So what is wrong with my calculation here? Oh, this is 9 minus I first of all. Because I goes from 0 to 9. Not from 1 to 10. That's not the whole reason though. Thanks, Daniel. Okay. I'm gonna pass in the invader spacing here. And then what we'll do with that. Oh, also let's handle the cooldown. First of all, we'll write a function called gen cooldown. And then it's going to be this, basically. So this update function is going to return possibly a laser. And then here the offset is wrong because of the group width. So group width isn't a constant. Can't be. Is this the right formula? Oh, panicked. Cannot sample empty range. I need a backtrace. In main line 45. Cannot sample empty range. I don't get it. What's wrong with this? Do you see anything obvious, Trevor?
Um, is it high resolution on Twitch?
Yeah, it should be. It's 1080p at least.
Yeah.
Oh, it says I'm streaming Minecraft. Should fix that. This is science and technology, I think is the category that people use for programming. You can read it better on Twitch, right?
Yeah, it's higher quality.
Good.
Can you
I
hear
should
my-
stop streaming on Discord, to be honest. Should improve my bandwidth.
I'm gonna beat you on Twitch because hashtag echo chamber. What was the
0
question?
to 10. Map I into an invader new. And it collects it all into a vector. Cannot sample empty range. Oh, that's a little too deep. Gen range. Gen range is what's failing here. Gen cooldown. Wow, I'm not good at reading, huh? Alright. Now, whenever the first invader... Oh, that was a little bit too early.
That's offset by half there, but looks like
Yeah. What if I just do that? Does that work? It's really close. I actually like the behavior on the left better because it doesn't fly off the edge of the screen slightly.
well, it's still going too far right.
Hmm?
Well, it's still going too far to the right.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Why? Why? Forgot to add spacing there. Now it should be approximately equivalent on either side. Actually a bit early, so I'm going to divide by 2 here. This is like a massive hack at this point. But you know what? It looks pretty good. So now when their cooldown expires, I want to add that laser that they return to the vector. I think I can just do that and it'll work. What's wrong here? Why does Minecraft... What? Why does it say invader spacing Minecraft? So now they should start shooting. They're not shooting.
What's the range? 5 seconds to 15.
5 seconds to half a second.
Uh,
Oh wait, I forgot to subtract from cooldown. Wow, that's dumb. Well, I can use update interval here. Yep, that was dumb. Now they'll start shooting. Pew 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 pew. I think the lasers move too fast. That's a decent bullet hell though. I like it. Definitely a challenge. So now we need to do collision logic. At least I think that's what's next. So they're shooting. Oh, I should have multiple rows of them. Because there's what, like 3 in the base game? I'll make them move at half speed. I'm in totally the wrong file. Let's add another constant called invader speed.
You could have it be speed instead of direction, and then just flip the speed.
Yeah, I should call it invader speed or speed.
Yeah, just replace direction entirely.
I mean that's the effect that it had, so yeah. Alright, all that's left is the health field, but we will deal with that later anyway.
I am gonna head out. I will see you guys later.
Oh, see ya, dude. That's completely wrong. What is happening here? Hey, Cody. I'm not sure when you sent that, but I just saw your message. I'm gonna make sure to have my chat up. Alright, so what's going on with my invaders? Something is seriously wrong here. Unless I just have to negate this. That would kind of make some sick kind of sense. Yeah, it does. The problem is one of them just kind of fell off the face of the earth immediately. So I think I've gotten off by one here. What if I just say I-9? Yeah, that seems to work. Oh no. Now it doesn't work the other way. Now why would that be? I made the offset larger. Let's add some to that so that they're like desynced on their movement. Yeah, that's good. That's not good. Let's add 200. Oh yeah, it's like they're like coming in.
Cole Ellis joined the server.
Cole Ellis? Who's that?
I have no idea.
Cool. I'm losing one Space Invader. All the rest are fine. One of them just decides to
He's Austin's friend apparently.
yeet himself into oblivion. Let's make it look like they're shooting the lasers. That sounds like an important thing. Does that look like they're shooting them? It does. God, this really is a bullet hell now. I don't feel like I'm playing Space Invaders. That's a little bit too much. Maybe between half a second and like 10 seconds. Let's see how that looks. So it's more spread out, their gunfire. And I think this is fair because in the original Space Invaders, one shot and you're dead. But here, I'm going to give the ship health. I just wish that one Space Invader didn't fly off the edge like that. That's no fun. Maybe I'll make the lasers move slower. Maybe that'll help with the bullet hell problem. They're like just kind of floating down like that. That one invader gets me every time. Well, I'm going to pretend the bug with that doesn't exist for now. And we will roll for damage. So let's see, how do we do collision detection here? Let's make the lasers coordinates public. Both of them. Make the ship's coordinates public. Why am I rewriting JS code in Rust? Because I've been watching this YouTube channel called The Coding Train, and I really like Rust. So I've just been kind of working on rewriting what he decides to create in Rust. It's fun. Here's the JS code that I'm rewriting. I can open it here. Is this one, number 5. So I should be able to run this. Yeah, you can see that he's got a similar concept here, except the enemies grow larger whenever the bullets hit them. And there's not really any win condition here. So I'm trying to expand on his idea as well. Like, this is not Space Invaders, as far as I'm concerned. You can see that they do all fall in a group together, though, so that's good. But I don't think it's very object-oriented. Like, there is a flower class, I believe. Yeah, and the flower class does handle stuff, but shift down is just a function that it has. It doesn't know anything about the group that it's in. But as far as why I'm doing this, why not?
Bro, KFC made a console.
KFC made a console?
It's a legit thing. KFC gaming console is real. It's
Oh, no.
basically a PC, but it comes with a built-in chicken warmer. KFC teamed up with Cooler Master to build it or design it. And someone says it's $2,000. I gotta look this up. I gotta see if this is real.
That sounds stupid. So we made the ship's coordinates public, make the invaders' coordinates public. You know what I haven't tested is resizing the window. I haven't tested that in a while. So let's make the window very, like, just differently sized, I guess. Oh, hey, that seems to work.
The chicken warmer is utilizing the natural system. This is using the system's natural heat and airflow system. Dog. It's got a 9th gen i9 processor.
It's kind of ridiculous.
Two 1 terabyte SSDs. They're Barracuda, Seagate Barracuda 1 terabyte SSDs.
Only 1 terabyte? Wow.
2 of them.
Okay, that's fair. Why not a 2 terabyte one at that point?
I don't know. It's got an Asus graphics card that apparently does ray tracing, so I'm assuming it's probably like a 2080 or 3080. Something like that. It doesn't say though. It just says Asus powered graphics card with a first of its kind hot swappable GPU slot. What? Says 240 FPS
Alright, here's collision detection.
with support for 240 hertz output on 4K display.
So we're going to keep track of the lasers that hit a target so that we can delete them.
I need to see where I can order this to see if like they have more info about it.
We're going to go through all the lasers. Oh, this is going to be like a triple for loop or something. So I'll write a function called ship collision here. We'll write a to do here. lasers x is greater than ships x, and laser dot x less than, and laser dot y is greater than ship dot, or ship y, and laser dot y less than height. We're gonna pass in the window height here too. So we need a ship y constant. What do we set it to? 30? Boy. I'm gonna actually put this in the ship module. Make it accessible.
So it's just rumored to be a $2,000 price tag, and it's a digital only, no CD drive.
No CD drive. Wow.
Or yeah,
Unpurchasing.
I know, right?
Getting a refund right now.
Probably why they gave it 2 terabytes, to be honest.
I don't have a CD drive on my PC or my laptop.
Well,
Why would you need one?
I don't know. That's I don't know. When I built my PC, I put a CD drive in it. It was like $35. And because that's how half my shit was installed when I when I fucking built my PC.
I think we're just gonna do the lasers have a point hitbox instead of a hitbox. Hopefully that'll make it more forgiving. But it'll also make it like, I totally hit that enemy there. Where do we draw the laser? -10. I think this is the right math. Borrow the ship. I am supposed to be storing the indices here. Ship dot health minus equals laser dot damage. enemy.health. That's invader. Okay, that is public. Cool. And then we check for death. Oh wait, first of all, we remove lasers. So this is game over. Let's add a boolean for game over. So all updating is going to stop whenever the game over is true. So let's look for the dead invaders. Oh, that's a filter, not a map. We'll collect it. So there's a bit of Rust functional programming. And then we go back through it and we say invaders remove dead invader minus I. Let's see if this works. I will be very impressed if it does. Yeah, it does seem to be killing them. Strangely enough, they're not dying immediately. Like the lasers kind of go through them before they disappear. Wait, can I hit this one? Weird, okay. Did I crash? Oh no, that was game over, I died. Alright, well I think Space Invaders is pretty much done. I mean, there are bugs, obviously, but I think we did a pretty good job. And it's actually Space Invaders and not whatever the JavaScript version was. So I think now I'm going to move on to the next coding challenge, which is this mitosis simulation. So let's look at it. Now, for those of you watching, would you rather I look at the JS code and just kind of translate it, or kind of go off my memory of the video and then compare it? Because I could easily just look at cell.js and sketch.js here and then kind of get a functional replica. up and running in like a few minutes, and then move on to the next one. Because I've got quite a few of these to do. So I wouldn't feel that bad about, like, I don't know, you call it cheesing it. Because like we got this solar system in processing 2D, and then these two are 3D, and I'm not that good at 3D programming, as I've said before. So I'm probably not going to do the 3D versions, especially the texture mapped stuff. Like I would have to implement that manually, and I'm just not prepared to do that. The maze generator would be next in that case after the 2D solar system. So we're skipping 2 here. I already skipped the Mandra sponge here because again it's 3D. Well, let's look into the mitosis simulation anyway. Let's kind of copy this stuff. We don't need STL2 image. We do want rand because we're going to be randomly distributing these cells and then randomly like splitting them off whenever you click on them. So the idea of the simulation is you have some cells that are just kind of floating around randomly. They're doing a random walk. And then whenever you click on them, they split into 2, and both of the individual ones are smaller and they move at the same rate. But maybe what I could do is make them move slower as well. Anyway, let's set up our basic boilerplate here. I have to restart Rust Analyzer here because it's a new crate. There we go. Oh, this is vector 2, isn't it? We import STL error. And then we need width and height constants. Let's just make it 800 by 600 or something. That's my go-to. So we're going to have some updating going on, so we need a timer. We need an update interval constant. We'll update every, or 60 times per second. Then we can do our main loop. There we go. If timer.tick. There we go. That's our full skeleton. Let's run that to make sure it works. and it's resizable. Cool. So we will say what? We need a cell object. Has an X, has a Y, has a radius. What else does it have? I think that's it. I think this is very simple. Just generate that new method because we're just kind of, you know what? No, X and Y are going to be randomized. We need to import the RNG trait. And then we'll just set the initial radius because when we were constructing, no, we need to pass in the radius here because whenever we're constructing the cell, it could either be from main whenever we're creating our initial cells or from the cell itself whenever it's splitting itself. I changed my mind. I'm going to add a jitter variable to the constructor here. And because unfortunately clamp is unstable still, we have to do this. That's width, not height. You know what? Maybe I should write a clamp function. That'll go in this helpers library. Where do I put it? I guess here. Set containers. What do you mean? Alrighty. There's the update function. So it's gonna randomly walk around here. Alright, now when we're showing the cell, I'm gonna give it some transparency. So actually what we have to do is go to main and say canvas.set blend mode. So there, that now it'll respect transparency. And honestly, maybe I should put this in the init STL function. In fact, I think I will. Let's make it mutable. There, now we don't have to worry about that ever again. Alrighty. So we have that. When the cell's showing itself, we're gonna say canvas dot build circle and import that trait. Self.x, self.y, self.r. And let's be a little creative here. It'll be like 230 red. You know what? Let's make it random. Gonna be at least 100 red. Gonna be no green. And at least 100 blue. And we're gonna take the error and say if there's an error, then it was because we were drawing. What's wrong here? Expected 4 arguments. Oh yeah, alpha's 100. Script memory. I'm not sure what it is you're trying to get across here. Let's start with 2 cells. Let's import that. Radius is going to start out at, let's say 35. And its jitter is going to be 1. Yeah, this is kind of pointless because we're only doing 2 of them, but it's still less repetitive than typing it twice. There we're going to handle the jitter 60 times a second. Cell.draw or show. So let's just see how this looks. Oh, that's funny. I forgot. We're calculating a random number every single frame here. There's the color. We only calculate it once now. There we go, that looks a little bit better. Now what's interesting is that, I don't know if you can see this on the stream, but there's like a little, at the bottom of the circle, it's a little bit lighter. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Oh, geez, Rust Analyzer, calm down. Hey, thanks for the follow. I just thought to check that. I don't know how to pronounce your name, though. Sorry. All right, enough of that. Let's handle the mouse. So we need a flag here saying split so that in the main code we can split it. We can't split it here because we need to manage the vector of cells that we have in the main function. So we need a handle event. All right, handle. So we're going to match on the event. And we need to store the cursor position. Either that or pass it in here. But I'm going to prefer to store it. So mouse pause. So we're going to say if the event is mouse motion, an X and a Y, etc. We have to dereference the X here. Same for the Y. And then if it's a mouse button down, then we do the splitting conditionally here. We need a distance function. That's a good candidate for the library. Not dist2. So we say let dx, let dy, dx times dx and the square root of that. There we go. Is less than the radius. Then we've clicked on this particular cell. So self.split should be true. Okay. And then any other event, we're just going to ignore. Now cells are handling events. Now we're going to go to the update part. If cell.split, I want to make that public, or at least visible. Something like that. And then we need a constant here. We'll start at 0.5, I guess. And then we're going to store all the new cells into this vector here. Is this reasonable? I don't think it is. We need to pass x and y in here. Then we say cell.x, cell.y. I'm just going to make all these fields public at some point. And then the tricky part is, the reason that I'm iterating mutably here is that I'm not going to make 2 new cells, but just 1, and then reuse the old cell by just shrinking it. You know what? Maybe what we do is we drive clone on this guy. Because this color is going to need to be the same too. And what we do is, instead of saying that, after we change the radius and jitter, we just clone it. Does that work? It looks like it works. There's that fixed. And I think we're ready to try running it. Oh wait, I forgot. Add all the new cells to the cells array. Ooh, that's not good. Oh, I forgot to set split equals false. Oh, it's gonna crash now, yeah. So now I got 2. If I click on this again, we should have 4 tiny ones. Looks like 4. We get 8 even smaller ones. And then they're jittering very slightly. I wish I could zoom in on this. But their jitter is much smaller. Maybe what we should do is have a velocity for each cell, and then just have it like shoot out initially, but it has a drag and eventually slows down to just be the ambient jitter. That might be cool.
Oh, look.
Howdy, boys.
Hi, Zeph. I'm streaming.
Hi, streaming. I'm Zeph.
How you doing,
I'm
man?
doing great. I have an hour left in my movie that I started earlier. So after I finish that, I might just hop over to your stream if I don't find another movie I want to watch. What are you streaming tonight?
I am streaming myself recreating a bunch of cool programs
He
Ah,
was making Space
awesome.
that I
Invaders.
found online.
Very
I made
cool.
Space Invaders.
I'll invade your space.
Did you already finish it, or?
Yeah, it's a bit buggy still, but I consider it finished. Do you want to see?
What is your Twitch? Is it the same?
On content stop.
Oh yeah, I can just look at the stream, you boys.
True. Oh, I didn't paste it there. How do I?
No, those are just YouTubes. Those aren't Twitch. Or are you streaming
How do
on
I copy
YouTube?
my stream link? I am streaming on
You
YouTube.
should be able to just copy the URL, right?
I'm using Restream here.
I don't know what that means.
Restream lets you stream on Twitch and YouTube at the same time.
Ah,
Oh, I've got it. I'll paste it in Streaming Boys.
.404. This page does not exist.
What?
One
Fine, I'll delete it.
of the greatest features of the new Genshin update is that I no longer have to go into my settings every time I start up the game and change to controller. It just remembers I want to play on controller and makes that the default.
Beautiful.
Unless I start it up without the controller turned on. It's like, hey, boss, I got you. Obviously, you want to use mouse and keyboard.
Anyway, here's Space Invaders. Your health goes down whenever laser hits you. Funnily enough, I think they're killing each other here. Yeah, see, they're killing each other. I'm not even shooting. But you can kill them.
Oh, you shoot fast too.
Yeah, well, I'm spamming the spacebar right now. That's if I really spam it.
It's almost a solid beam. How many hits do they need to take before they die?
It's kind of random. So the laser does a random amount of damage between 10 and 50, and the enemies have 100 health.
Ah, nice.
So there's a bit of fun, cool randomness. I'll need to show that to Zeph whenever he's ready.
So if you just need to show me something real quick, I can flip over.
Yeah. It's Space Invaders, kinda.
Second. Over now. Wait, you're not streaming here. Where are you streaming? Oh, should I check
Twitch.
the streaming voice channel?
Yeah.
Oh, if you're just a Twitch stream, I'll keep that. I'll give you a view. I'll keep your Twitch stream open.
Thanks, dude.
I got you, dog.
Thanks for the voice crack.
It's just what I do. Oh, hey, that is Space Invaders. How cool.
Isn't it? It's why is the laser not hitting this one? See, sometimes it's a bit weird and buggy. But for the most part it works. And then I died. I think I died to a laser I couldn't see. Or you know what? I think I died to my own laser.
Wait, what?
Cause I don't have any like friendly fire protection.
Do the enemies have friendly fire protection?
No.
Oh, nobody
So
has.
look, you'll see like these lasers will disappear, and that's because they're hitting each other.
Nobody has friendly fire protection.
No, this is just pure chaos.
It be your own niggas.
But yeah, that's my project I've been working on for the past hour and a half.
Oh, whoa.
I stole this spaceship from online. From the interwebs. It was a $15 photo to download to buy.
$15 photo?
And it's 15 pixels wide, so $1 per row of
And
pixels.
what is this image that was $15?
It's this one. Here, let me open it. This image right here was $15.
Why'd you have to pay $15 for it?
I didn't pay for it.
Oh.
Who do you think I am?
Why was it $15?
Wait, then how'd you get it?
I literally downloaded the preview,
You downloaded the preview.
then downscaled it to 1 pixel per pixel, and all the JPEG artifacts were magically gone.
That's really funny.
I don't see why they charged $15 for that.
Hacker man strikes again.
But yeah, let's go back to this clicky mitosis simulation. Although it's technically done. You just click on the cells and they split. Cute.
Wow.
Why is that one so small?
Because I clicked on it a few times.
It's quite literally point and click simulator.
Yep. Fun game, right?
A game about
So I'm
pointing and
following this
clicking.
guy's website here. So he has like 160 coding challenges.
Bro, you got 5 viewers
Um,
now too.
5. Oh, I'm popping off.
Sick nasty, brah.
So I'm going through this guy's videos. I did a star field. I did not do the manger sponge because it's 3D. Hey, Perkin. I did snake. I did purple rain. Did space invaders, and now I've done mitosis.
Hmm.
So I think next up is the solar system. Let's look at it. So the solar system simulation is supposed to look something like this. So you have a central star here. Then you have a bunch of planets surrounding the star. And then moons surrounding those planets. And then moons surrounding those moons. And so on and so forth until you get bored. So basically what he's done here in the code is he said the sun will spawn 5 moons, and then it'll spawn a random number of moons between 0 and 4, or 0 and 3 for each planet that spawns. So it's gonna like recursively be spawning moons. So if I run this again, every time I run it, it's going to be a different solar system. So that's important. It's like a procedurally generated solar system with no collision detection whatsoever. Is this an n-body problem? No, it's not nearly as complicated. We're not involving Kepler's law or anything, because you can see that these planets are just kind of crashing directly into each other. This is just trigonometry. So I'm going to be translating that to Rust. Let's see what happens. All right, we are compiling. Yank in all my dependencies that I usually take. And we're gonna get started after I restart Rust Analyzer, because unfortunately I have to do that every time. I do wish that there was a better solution than that. Hopefully in a future update they'll fix it. So we're gonna say throw away the STL context, throw away the, what is this? The video subsystem. We don't care about it. We do care about the canvas, which we draw on. We do care about the event pump, from which we get events. And we call init STL. We say solar system, quote unquote simulation. Because I don't think this really counts. And that function can fail, obviously. I don't like this font at all. That's better. Let's import in the init STL function. We need the width and height constants. We have an 800 by 600 window. And we're ready to set up some more stuff. What VS Code extension do I use? So I use a bunch of them. I use Rust Analyzer specifically for Rust. But as you can see, I have just a ton of them installed, mostly themes and other miscellaneous plugins. I have Shifty, which lets you like randomly pick a font or color theme from your installed color themes. It's fun. I shift it every once in a while, but sometimes you shift this and you get a light theme, and that's terrible. Which one completes my dependencies? That's Rust Analyzer. So down here you can see it's running. Unless you mean in cargo.toml. Because I also have a extension called crates, which like shows you what the latest version of every crate that you depend on is, and lets you like, know if it's the latest version or not with this little built-in circle. All right, let's make a timer. We're gonna update 60 times a second. And that's for frame rate independent rendering, because I have a 144 Hz monitor and other people that are consuming the app might not. So I added this neat little timer thing. Obviously these are little throwaway projects, so it doesn't apply here, but if I were to use this library in something else, I would really appreciate the timer. So we're going to say if we see a quit event, break the loop. Then we're going to say background. Import that, import the trait. And present. And then in here, this is where we would do the timer stuff. Now the way that I do the timer, its tick rate is limited to the frame rate. So it's not completely independent, but if the frame rate is too high, then the tick rate will not go higher. So it's a maximum or a minimum of every 60th of a second in between ticks. We're not going to do anything there right just yet. So let's see, we need a planet object. Now, is there any polymorphism that he uses here or anything like that? I don't think he does. Just a constructor, orbit function, spawn moons function, show. Yeah, that seems pretty straightforward. Oh, here you can see where I was getting that spaceship image. I'll just pretend that I didn't do that. So the planet has a radius, a distance from its parent, and orbital speed, and angle,
So
which
Austin
is
literally
its
just
current
called
position.
me on my phone
Why?
to tell me that he has found a person that he is friends with now that has not played video games and has not seen very many shows or movies.
Sounds like a random Austin thing.
Yeah, he
It
said that
does.
he's found a victim. So he said that he's gonna get him to play his Austin's collection with him, and then make him watch a bunch of shows. And I said, let me guess, first thing first, Chowder, and he goes, absolutely.
That is his new show, isn't it?
Yeah, he started watching Chowder a while, like a few days ago, I think, because he found out he had Hulu.
Yes, I remember that.
So we're going to initially have the planet's vector be empty. And then when you call the spawn moons function, it will fill this vector with more planets.
Zev, I have to show you a really cool Star Wars.
Make me alt tab again.
There's a really cool Star Wars video I saw.
Oh, you know what? He doesn't use trigonometry here. He actually uses matrix math. So he changes the drawing matrix from the identity. He's going to rotate by the planet's angle. Then he's going to translate out to its distance from its parent. Then he's going to draw the planet. And then he's going to do a recursive call, which is how we represent the structure and the hierarchy, besides having the planets here.
All right, I sent you the video.
Was this a fan, like a
Yeah, very
fan-made
simple to
short
find
film?
transforms.
Yeah, it's all animated.
So we'll say orbit.
It's like pretty close on par with Astartes, in my opinion.
Really high quality. Wow.
It is very high quality. That's why I said it's almost on par with Astartes. They spent
orbit when
like
a spawn
6 months
moves.
making this, I think is what I saw.
Jeez.
And just for fun, I'm not going to limit the recursion besides with randomness. So that moons can have moons can have moons. And so on until the randomness decides to stop. So I think the minimum radius of a circle is 1 pixel. Like even if you write 0, it'll still draw 1 pixel. So we'll see like a lot of little dots flying around wildly. I think that'll be fun. So we won't keep track of the level of recursion here. Oh, we actually do need to keep track of the level of recursion because the radius is divided by it.
Plus, I really like the concept of the story for this whole short film.
So far, it seems pretty neat.
Distance is going to be random. Orbital speed is going to be random. Angle is going to also be random. I don't like this formatting. This is gross. Not 0. It's going to be between like 10 and 50. You know what? Let's scale it by the radius. It's going to be at least self.radius away. And it's going to be at most self.radius times 3. And that roughly translates to mass. So hopefully these moons don't look too ridiculously far away. And so it would, you know, be reasonably possible that they could actually orbit each other if we were using proper physics. Anyway, the orbital speed is going to be random as well. And this formatting is just disgusting. Okay, there we go. So he does orbital speed between negative 0.1 and 0.1. So keep in mind this is applied 60 times a second. And you know what? I don't see a problem with negative 0.1, 0.1. And then the angle is random. Not much room for creativity here. It's just going to be between 0 and 2 pi. There we go. Now I got rid of that gigantic red squiggle that kept happening. Let's do integer multiplication here for optimization reasons. And then we're immediately doing a floating point division, but whatever, you can't win them all. So I think that's it. No, we have to go through the planets that we just spawned and spawn moons for them. So we're going to spawn between 0 and 3 moons at the level +1. There we go. That's the spawn moons. What's wrong? I've got an error here. 3.0, please. I do not like this about Rust, where you have to specify a floating point literal in order for it to be considered a floating point number. There are a lot of .0s in my code. It is a little bit more explicit though. Now we're going to draw ourselves to the canvas. What's wrong here? Oh, that's impl. Impl render target. Forgot that's generic. Then we will say, well, we can pretty much do exactly what he's doing here because one of the features of my library here is that we have
What a short
translate,
film.
rotate, scale,
That's a cool
push
concept. That
pop.
was a cool film.
Yeah.
That was really high quality too. Very well done.
Have you seen Astartes? It's
not.
it's a Warhammer short film series. I will
I
link you it.
I don't know anything about Warhammer.
You don't really need to. It's just really fucking cool.
I'll check that out sometime.
Don't
We're
worry.
gonna
I'm
push
gonna send you the
matrix.
video.
Now we get completion because I imported the trait. So we're going to set the color to be white with 100 opacity. But we actually can't do that here. We have to do it whenever we call the draw circle function, just because of how STLGFX works.
See that link. I will
That's the
watch
particular
that.
library we're
Not
using to
this
draw
very
circles.
moment, but I will check that out sometime.
Yeah, that's all 5 parts linked into one edit. It's 13 minutes
A piece or total?
total.
Gotcha. Very short.
The longest part I think was 5 minutes, and that was part 5.
Now, what's the difference if I just swap
7.5 minutes was part 5.
I think
The
this
other ones
makes
are
more
really short then.
sense, at least to me.
Yeah, part 1 is not even a minute. Part 4 is 2 minutes.
So I have to call this ext fill circle method and not the internal SDL method, because the internal SDL method does not take my matrix stack into account. Yeah, here. So color management of the graphics library. What do you mean exactly? Oh, I have to specify the color whenever I call draw instead of getting to call it before I call draw. Yeah, there's an order of calls that I could have had where I could have specified the color once, like he's doing here, except he's actually doing it recursively, so there's not really a benefit in the JavaScript code. But you could see, I call before show canvas.set draw color. But unfortunately, if you look inside ext fill circle here, it calls filled circle, which is an internal SDL GFX C library, and it takes the color in at the time of drawing. So there's a lot of unnecessary set draw color calls, I assume. That's the only thing that bugs me slightly about this SDL library. So we're going to draw it at 0, 0 with our own radius. Going to be might as well specify this in hex, why not? I don't know hex for 100 actually. 64. Well, that's a nice number. There we go. And what's wrong here? Oh, right. This already returns an STL error because it's my method. So now we just go through the planets. And then finally, we pop a matrix. So the workflow is we push a matrix to save the state before we start drawing ourselves. Then we draw ourselves. Then we draw our children. Then we restore the state that was before we drew ourselves. So for the first, for the sun, we're going to translate, rotate, and fill. Then it's going to go through all of its planets, and you get the idea. So I think that function's done. Let's go to main and get some of this happening. We actually just need one planet because the planets store their children. Let's make its radius, I don't know, 40. Its distance is 0 because it's the sun. It doesn't orbit anything. Orbital speed is 0. Angle is 0. Well, that's a boring planet. Sun.spawn moons. We're going to spawn 5 of them. And we're going to set the level to 1. Because I think we would divide by 0 otherwise. Yeah, right here. Now what we should be able to do is say sun.orbit, sun.show. That's the canvas in, and that's our main. I'm gonna cross my fingers. Could I map instead of using a for loop? Where? This event for loop? Yeah, probably. This is a any. Oh, that's a lot cleaner. Thanks for suggesting that. I hope it still works. That'd be embarrassing if it didn't. Oh, yes. We've got a little problem here. It's not even close to the center of the screen. So what we got to do is say canvas.reset matrix, canvas.translate. Yeah, exactly. I gotta translate. Width over 2, height over 2. That's looking a lot better. But we've got some strange behavior here. Nothing seems to be actually orbiting the sun. And there's like a whole ring of moon. It's like an asteroid belt. So the planets that are zooming past though, they do seem to have properly orbiting moons around them. It's just that the sun doesn't seem to be the center. No, it shouldn't only offset the sun. because we do translate and then we do sun.show immediately, and it pushes a matrix. And what push matrix does is it copies the top, which is here, self.top.clone. And so it should offset every planet if it offsets the sun. Because we don't call reset matrix anywhere except for in main. So something else is going wrong here. Maybe it's because I decided to be rebellious and flip the comma. No, that doesn't seem to have helped. Thanks for the follow tomorrow. So we're trying to get these planets to actually orbit the sun. That would be nice. But what are they doing? They're orbiting. You're right. It seems like they're only orbiting the top left corner of the screen. So in the stage of the loop here, or the recursive function, I suppose, we translate here by self.distance from the origin. First we rotate by self.angle, which causes the orbiting effect. Then we translate by our distance from the parent, none in the y. So if our angle is 0, for example, we will go straight off to the right by distance. And then we call fill circle at 0, 0, which means that the translation, or the total rotation and translation, results in the position of the planet. And then we go through our children, and then we show each of them, which does this whole song and dance again. There's no resetting happening here, so I'm not sure exactly how that could be possible. Thanks for the follow, Birkin. The initial position should be width over 2, height over 2. Yep, and that's why I've put a translate call here right after reset matrix. So what if I don't reset matrix? What happens then? It should fly off immediately and be invisible. Yeah, that seems to be what happened. So the reset matrix is necessary. If we don't translate, then things are orbiting the sun, except these which aren't orbiting anything. They're just kind of hovering there. But that's alright, we can fix that once we fix this problem. Also, it seems like a lot of the tinier moons are orbiting the sun, but their radius is oscillating. I've got some strange code here. I hope it's not in my library, because I thought it was pretty sound. We have translate. We clone the top of the stack. We multiply it, we left multiply it with the translation matrix of dx dy, which is correct. We left multiply with rotation matrix in the case of rotation. This is pretty much all copy pasted, except for the function call here. And then there's a scaling matrix, but we don't even use that, so it shouldn't be an issue. Inside of the canvas, we have a static that is protected by a locking primitive here, or a cross-thread thing, so that we can mutate it. And we say translate, rotate, scale, push pop. That all seems pretty reasonable. And I haven't had issues with the matrix library before. I haven't tested it extensively or anything, but I don't think it would be the problem here. There's gotta be something wrong with this. ext fill circle. And then we call transform. And that should create a left multiplication with, and I kind of just hand wrote it here because multiplying a 3x3 matrix with a vector 2 isn't technically possible. But if you create it into a vector 3 and just append 1 at the end, then you're able to do that, and then I just truncate it so the third term is gone. I think that's right. Yeah, that's so simple. I don't see how it could be going wrong. I bet we could replace this for loop with a map. We're feeling greedy. No, I don't like to map with functions that return unit, especially since this can fail. Am I saving the new map values that are replaced instead of the for loop? See here. Let's limit the recursion depth for now. So everything, I'm mutating self.planets. Yes, I am. But only to generate new children for that planet. This bug is sneaky. The any for the event handling? Well, let's see, I can revert it. But the only thing that this really handled was exiting the program. No, there's no mutation happening here. So that's the loop that I had originally, right? So I am mutating event pump here, but any will consume the iterator if all of them are false, which they should be until I hit the X button. So I don't think that's even swallowing events. We can run it to be sure. Yeah, the bug is still present. I've done this before. I have some code here. Although I do something different. I don't do rotate. I do a translate, and I do like cosine and sine. I suppose that couldn't hurt to try. Oh. Now wait a second, that doesn't make sense. Am I sure this works? Yeah, this works. Okay, but we're not worrying about that. We're trying to fix this. Also, I think the orbital speed is way too high. That's here. We'll just divide it by 10, see what happens. Things are still moving very quickly. Let's do some debugging, I suppose. I'm going to make an accessor for the matrix. And it returns a matrix, a reference to a matrix 3. Does that work? I don't think that works. Return a read guard. So I think that's how we have to do it. Oh, right. I'm kind of just shooting for anything at this point. So if y'all have any ideas in the chat, please do. All right, we can debug this. You know, I don't know why I thought that would be helpful. So this is the x offset. This is the y offset. These are the sines and cosines of the angle of rotation. You can see that this is negative sine, this is positive sine, this is cosine, and this is cosine. And then the bottom row is always going to be 0, 0, 1, because we're not doing full affine transforms. This is two-dimensional, so. Is there anything that I'm missing in this code, this JavaScript code? This isn't going to change anything. I'm just changing it for the sake of it. So yeah. Planets are bigger now though, so that's good. I was expecting them to be smaller actually. Calling this a simulation is really not even close to accurate. I mean, it seems so simple. The rotate method is normalizing the result norm. It constructs a rotation matrix based on the angle, and then left multiplies the top with it. Hey, Bill. How you doing, man? I'm alright. I would be a lot better if I could figure out what this strange issue is. Here, I guess I'll show you. Everything appears to be orbiting the top left corner of the screen instead of the sun that they're supposed to be orbiting. Yeah, it's doing sine and cosine in the back end here. but it's just left multiplying the transformation matrix with that matrix dumbly. Is there something smarter I need to be doing whenever it comes to composing transformations like this? Hang on, let me install Octave to do some matrix math here. So let's say our matrix 1 is 1, 0, 5, 0, 1, negative 6, 0, 0, 1. So this is a translation matrix. M2 we'll say is I don't know, sine of 60. Oh, sorry, that's cosine. There's matrix 2. So if we left multiply M1 with M2, we get this. So the rotation is preserved here. The translation changes. Can I pipe the transformations? No. I can only create them and multiply them. So the axis of rotation should be around 0, 0. Which, whenever the matrix is translated, it should still be 0, 0. Or sorry, it should be the origin that's translated. Let's go back to this one that works. That's why I rotate first and then translate. Exactly. If I translated first and then rotated, it would not rotate until the next translation. Because you can imagine, like, if you're physically standing here and then you turn and then walk, that's different from walking and then turning. Here's our matrix math for the library that actually works. It looks almost identical. Theta dot cosine, negative theta dot sine, 0. Theta dot sine, cosine, 0, 0, 0, 1. 1, 0 dx, 0, 1 dy, 0, 0, 1. 1, 0 dx, 0, 1 dy, 0, 0, 1. I'm just dummy checking all of this at this point. Is my matrix multiplication wrong? That would be really funny. It actually wouldn't be funny at all. I would be very sad. But kind of looking that way. This is different. I think I found my issue. Let's just quietly copy paste this code. If it works now, I'm not happy. Okay, it doesn't work. My faith in my knowledge of matrix math is restored. But the problem still isn't solved. I'm not sleeping until I figure this out. Thanks for the follow, Abomination. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to debug the matrix once. And then exit. So the angle is obviously 0 here. I don't think that's helpful. Should save the file before running it, huh? Alright, so here's our matrix, chosen at random. So let's also debug self.angle, self.distance. What else? The translation I summit. You think so? So you're saying this translate function, I'm supposed to add a top. Can't hurt to try. Oh, except it doesn't compile. That's fair, but I've been doing everything in terms of multiplying matrices. Oh god. My Vim foo is not very good. That was embarrassing. Let's add the top. It does not appear to be working. It was a good theory. But I think that in any case, how do we have like built-in functions in Octave? Screw it, I don't care. So here's a translation matrix with a pretty big offset. And here's a rotation matrix. If we add the two, it's going to be pretty obvious what we'll get. And you can see here that it also added the identity part here. So it's not accurate. And here we have a 2, and that's just not right at all. Because this is supposed to stay 1 at pretty much all times. If we say M1 times M2 though, which is representing a rotation followed by a translation. I'm rewriting this solar system simulator. It's fairly simple looking. You have a sun, it has planets that orbit it. Those planets have moons, those moons have moons, and so on and so forth, I mean. However, we have a problem right now that it's not orbiting the sun properly. I'll just run it to show you. You can see that everything seems to be orbiting somewhere over here. I don't know that it's exactly the top left corner of the screen, but that's a reasonable guess. So we're looking through everything possible in order to figure out what it could possibly be that is causing this to not work. We've tried adding the translation matrix here, but that doesn't do the same thing as multiplying it, unfortunately. You can see that left multiplying the translation matrix here, which means composing a rotation with a translation, is actually the same as what you would expect from just offsetting that matrix with these two values. Yes, Daniel.
First five followers.
Okay, so if we say M2 times M1, we're going to get a rotation followed by a translation, which obviously isn't the same thing because the translation is rotated at that point. So everything about this seems right. Like unless I did a typo somewhere and did dy dx. dx dy, dx dy. Width, height. Zero is the dx. Self-dot distance is the dy. Actually, let's make it that way so that it's going off to the right and then nowhere in the y direction. But this doesn't fix the problem. Yeah, I feel like something else is wrong. I think my matrix math is on point. Sum of vectors, yeah. Exactly, okay. I'm gaining more confidence in my matrix library now that I'm like trying to find anything wrong with it and kind of failing.
Are you trying to make a pattern or something?
Yes, Daniel, I'm trying to make a solar system.
That's a weirdo control. Planets go inside each other? Oh my god, logic, physics. Oh.
We've got 4 pops at the end here. This is frustrating. I keep wanting to run it and just have it magically work. I'm gonna get rid of the recursion limit. Because that doesn't have anything to do with the problem and might as well not limit it. We'll just say between 0 and 2 moons instead. That shouldn't spawn too many. Yeah, it's just spawned a few here. But it's random now. And they're still orbiting the wrong point. Let's not do this fancy stuff with distance. And just kind of copy what he has there. That didn't change much. So let me undo that because I don't want to type it all again. Here we're just adding to the angle. There's nothing fancy going on there. I think I'm gonna say screw it and move on to the next one for now. And I'll try this one again tomorrow. Maybe see what I did wrong after sleeping. Make it work for 0, 0, and then translate in the correct way. Like you're saying if I don't do the initial translation here. So what's interesting about this is that not only is the sun not moving, but other planets that are orbiting the sun are also not moving. See that? Well, I think that's what this is doing. But there's this strange phenomenon here where we've got hovering planets. I'm gonna leave this translate in. I'm gonna make things simple here and not rotate. Just do some trigonometry instead. This shouldn't change anything. What? Well, we did it. Yeah, that looks like it's working to me. Let me change these orbital speeds. So the problem was rotating. What if I'm gonna comment that out just to save it. What if I translate then rotate? No, that still doesn't work. What if I just forget to rotate? Yeah, makes sense. Oh! I think I get it. So my matrix math is perfect. What happened here is I translated here, and then I rotated, which is exactly what I was saying not to do. Because it rotated about the origin. So, we fixed it. Only mild embarrassment. Yeah, let's move on to the next one, and then I think I'm gonna call it. Oh boy, it's the maze generator.
YouTube?
You commented it? Yeah, I was totally not thinking the right way.
Oh, I'm making a maze.
Not just a maze generator.
What it needs the generator. It creates walls.
So here's the part 1 of the maze generator. It's a recursive backtracker. Oh, this is actually the full maze generator.
Sounds like a game of Snake.
Very cool. I don't know if I can do this tonight because it's 11:45 where I live right now.
It's 23.
But I will definitely try and get a start on it. Yeah, I'm planning to stream pretty often. I think most evenings, honestly. I'll definitely stream tomorrow.
Definitely not stream the day after. That's Christmas.
I might do a Christmas stream, you don't know that.
What? First on Christmas Eve. I don't think most people should be streaming.
You'd be surprised.
No, I'm gonna use public cam. I might stream. Why not?
This Twitch stream did way better than my YouTube stream that I normally do. I'm glad I decided to do restream today. Hey, thanks. That means a lot to me.
So yeah, Twitch is way better than YouTube, as you can tell. You can stream both platforms at once.
Yes, Daniel.
I'm saying that.
I come from Java personally. Like I learned Java, then C++, and other Rust streams. Good idea, good idea. Do you know of any that are live? Yeah, that's definitely a good idea. Raimu is streaming. I'll peek at his stream.
Who's that? Oh, popular.
Oh, he's doing advent code. Cool. Yeah, I think that's what I'll raid. Oh, I always forget to restart Rust Analyzer. So let's have a look at the JavaScript here. So we got a cell object. it has walls, and it has a visited flag. Has a function called check neighbors. And ooh, there's an implicit variable here called grid. So that's a global that we have to convert. That'll be slightly obnoxious, but that's all right.
Hey, God, you know what would be fun?
What?
If someone thought you were writing JavaScript in the game Rust. That'd be hilarious.
All right, let's get some of this done. I'll make a module for the cell. I hope that this is kind of a comfortable style of Rust programming. I tend to keep an object-oriented style just because, like I said, I come from Java. So you'll see me use a lot of structs and associated traits. Because that's kind of the Rust replacement for polymorphism. And when we get to the coding challenges in the future that actually deal with polymorphism, for example, this fractal tree that's object-oriented here, I believe this has some polymorphism going on. There's definitely something in the future that has object-oriented stuff. And so I'll go over in detail like how traits work and stuff if that's something that you'd be interested in knowing.
You should make fractal tree.
I will in the future. It's not far off actually. Because these are 3D, and as I've said, I can't do 3D because the math is kind of too much for my brain and I would have to do it manually. You were learning Scala. Oh, so you're learning it from a functional programming perspective. That's why you're talking about all the iterators and stuff. We have an I and a J. Why do we call it I and J? I'm going to call it X and Y. We have walls, and that's a array of 4 booleans. And then we have a visited flag.
Honestly, fractal trees is pretty easy. Because all I have to do is take one branch, make it split into 2 over and over.
Yep. There we go, that constructs a cell.
Fractal tree plan.
You can get in my chat, Daniel, if you want. You can't? On your phone? Okay.
Dad said
I mean, it is late. Yeah, okay. We have check neighbors, which will, let's see, what does it do? It returns a reference to a cell given a reference to a grid. That's what I think this function does. And it also mutates self. So it takes a slice in of cells, and it returns a reference to one of those cells. maybe.
You getting 8 whereas when I get 0. Funny. But it's funny.
So let's see. So he's written an index function here, which is probably pretty handy. I'll just make it private to this module. Where is that function defined? Here. So we have globals called calls and rows. Those can be constants, so we can make them global, so to speak. So we'll say the cell size is 20. That should result in an integer number of columns and rows. There we go. And we're going to say y times calls plus x. Gotta cast that to usize. I think that's safe. Because as long as it's an integer, that should be fine. Maybe I'll round it. Just to be safe. Alright. Now that we're done with that, index ij minus 1. Right, because that's y minus 1. And I'm reading the other code too much. Left is grid index self.x minus 1. Bottom is and right. There we go. And now, there's actually a problem here. If self.y is greater than 0, then it's some of that. Otherwise, it's none of that. Because we don't want to get any underflow errors or anything like that. We gotta have similar if checks here. That's a bit of an uglier one because unfortunately we have to do a cast there. If self.x is less than calls. Oops, I did control B. Again, my vimfoo. All right. So we're going to use some functional programming here. We'll do a filter map. I think that works. Oh, these should be references to cells. I don't want to move out of grid. So now it's a vec of references to cell. So what we're doing here is we're taking C, we're discarding it if it's null or none, and otherwise we're keeping it and adding it to the vector. And we're taking advantage of the type system here because if it's sum, we don't need to call unwrap, we just return it as an option here for filter map, and filter map does the pattern matching for us. So let's say if neighbors.empty, none, otherwise choice. I believe that's how you do it. No? Choose? Yes, choose. Oh, I have to unwrap this because we know it's not empty. And that actually compiles. I'm surprised. We're doing a lot of reference manipulation here. I guess we'll see if it works. But it looks like it compiles, so that's pretty good. We do have an error somewhere. Because I'm not seeing a warning saying that this function is unused. And I'm supposed to see that. Can I build this? Ooh. Yeah, there's a lifetime error. This parameter and the return type are declared with different lifetimes. But really, they shouldn't be. So it looks like oh, of course. We have two references here, self and the grid. So Rust can't elide the lifetimes because it doesn't know which one. And now it builds. So there you go. That's how you fix some nasty lifetime errors. All right, we got more functions. We got draw. Oh wait, we got highlight. You know what? Instead of doing that, I'm gonna say highlighted as a flag. No, but then I have to remember to unset it. Let's just keep it the way that he's got it here in the JavaScript. All right, we'll just say set draw color, make it, I don't know, blue. Again, we'll write it in hex because we're cool. We got to do some casting here for sure, because everything is different. Every type is different that we want to be manipulating here. So we have self.y times cell size, cell size. Oh, these are I32 actually. All right. Just some imports here. And now in the show function, we need to say if self.left or self.walls 0, that's going to be the top wall. We'll define it as that. First of all, let's get rid of this squiggle by saying OK at the end. First, we're going to say set the draw color to white. Dot draw line. Got to import point. You know what? Let's introduce some variables here. Because I don't like all these casts and I want them to be in one place. Oh my god, I can't escape it. Expected I32 found U32. Oh, thank god. Thought it was U32 for some reason. So walls 1, we will say that that is the left wall arbitrarily. Walls 2 is going to be the bottom wall. And I'm doing it in this order because it's consistent with the check neighbors order. I'm going to introduce a variable for cell size because that's obnoxious. Unnecessary cast. I would love a warning for unnecessary cast, by the way. And finally, walls 3. And I'm sure there's some fancy math you could do here to make this a little bit more efficient, but I don't care. There we go, that's all the walls. Now we're going to draw an overlay if the cell is visited. We'll make it magenta, but slightly transparent. There we go. And I think that's it for the cell. So what we have in Sketch is we have not much. We have remove walls here. We have a stack going on, which I could implement with recursion, but I'm worried that it won't be tail call optimized. So let's just go to main. And we'll just use vec as a stack, by the way. Good enough. Or it's as good as a stack, honestly. And now we're going to make a timer. And it's going to trigger like every 10th of a second or something. Wait, because I'm using any instead of a for loop, I don't have to use a label here. I just say break. You've made my life a whole lot easier here. In fact, if we want to like super optimize it and we don't care about any events besides quit event, which is the case here. That's just the while loop condition. So if we tick, then we're gonna advance in the maze generation algorithm. Not self. Let's make the cell array. Or sorry, grid. Now what's going on here? I'm being too clever with iterators, I think. Oh, you know what we can use? We can use Cartesian product from iter tools. What's the latest version? 0.9? Cool. So we can just say zeroed rows, Cartesian product with zeroed calls as usize. And that's much cleaner. Is this right though? I think this is calls and this is rows. I'm going to store an index into the grid here instead of storing a reference just for the sake of lifetimes. I want it to be only borrowed for the exact moments that it needs to be. So we say, we visit the current cell, we highlight it, this is not going to be perfect, but it'll work. That's a private member. I don't know if X and Y need to be public yet. We're going to call highlight here. Although this is frame rate independent, so there's going to be some flickering. If I wanted to do it properly, I could just whatchamacallit, store it in a field on the cell. But I'm about to end stream, so I just want to get this done. Is this gonna work? Also borrowed as mutable. Does this need a mutable reference? It doesn't. Right? Yeah, I can just not worry about it. But of course, I need to mutate next. So really what we should be returning here is an index. And I didn't even finish writing this. Because it has to be not visited to be a valid neighbor. So instead of this, we're just gonna say the index there. We tried lifetimes, but didn't work out. Because we need a mutable reference. And I could put this all in a synchronization primitive. That's the word I was thinking of earlier when I said multi-threaded primitive. Synchronization. Yeah, we'll just dereference it here. So now we say grid next dot visited equals true. And we need to push current onto the stack. We have a stack. Then we remove walls. Now how does this work? Ew. Although that is actually fine. But I'm gonna say dx. These all gotta be public. If dx equals 1, that means b is to the right of a. So we break down b's left wall and a's right wall. Otherwise, we swap them. Ah. Yeah, I can't have -1, huh? We're not indexing with these, so we can cast them to I-32. It'll be fine. If dy equals 1, then b is below a. And what's actually kind of nice here is we've got a static guarantee that a and b are not the same. We can actually just put... Oh, no, no. I was gonna say we can just put else there, but I guess we could just make this else. And say dy is -1. Alright, that's remove walls. We say remove walls. Does that work? Yeah, I assumed I couldn't do that. Lifetimes, or borrowing. It does get tiring eventually. That's mute. And I think we got it. We just mutate current here. We're just gonna pop from the stack. That's the backtracking part. We have to unwrap that because it could return none, but it actually can't because it's not empty. And that's the whole maze generator. And it's gonna work first try, watch. I think I'll debug this tomorrow. Oh, I forgot to draw.
You forgot to do that. What noob? Only noobs forget. I just want to say I see that your chat has died.
And I have to present the canvas to the screen, I guess, huh?
Don't function. It doesn't have sound.
Oops, forgot color. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a maze. All right. What was I saying about debugging this tomorrow? I know, right?
Gosh, no, maze. It's beauty.
It's like it's painting. It's like one of those brushes in GIMP.
No. Sorry.
That's really cool.
Before, after.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna debug this tomorrow. I'm gonna go ahead and raid Raimu.
Raimu? Like Raimu?
So you guys go get him, or whatever people say during raids. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
Spanish chat. How raids go? You spam chat. already started one.
Raid now.
Not go to his chat. So.
Daniel.